well, we're going to move to rumors from Ethan's head. But first, if you are watching this and you have not clicked join event, please do so you can drop some questions in, because after Ethan says something nutty, we are going to answer your nutty questions. So please fill it up. Ethan, what do you got today?
Well, first, I need to kind of recover from how awkwardly I handled that interview. I need to just, he was great. He has interesting ideas. I need to definitely recover and bounce back, but I will with a strong rumor from my resilient head, my resilient noggin. I'm like the Rhino, Craig Smith. I persistent, resilient, various synonyms for all of those
Craig
things.
Smith has a resilient head.
Well, then your head's in the clouds, then, Zach. Seriously. Anybody can see that. Anyway, rumor from my head. I have looked into the future, and it is a wondrous future because I see Anthony Davis coming to the Detroit Pistons and working with synergistic majesty, I must say, with Greg Monroe to complement him perfectly. You have just a wondrous offensive center in Monroe and an amazing defensive power forward in Anthony Davis. It will be so fun. Detroit Pistons fans, you can already start celebrating the 2016 NBA Finals. You have won it due to this combination. Congrats, guys.
So I'm not clear what the actual rumor is here. That just seems like a prediction.
I know. It's a prediction from Ethan's head.
They're all predictions, guys. You guys haven't caught on?
Well, if
I don't think that we've had a single rumor.
Well, you think that Anthony Davis is going to be basically the second coming of Hakeem Olajuwon defensively. Is that fair to say?
From the power forward position, I think that defense in the NBA used to be the main purview of the hand-checking guys on the exterior and the occasional guy like Hakeem Olajuwon. And now we have power forwards.
This
so
Anthony
angry.
Davis shit has to end. I just can't
angry.
handle it.
It's like
what is the difference between Anthony Davis and Marcus Camby coming out of UMass? Seriously, what is and not bad players at all, but good lord, what is the difference?
Well, I believe the difference is that Anthony Davis has more blocks, more steals, and also fewer fouls. If you look at his offensive statistics, actually, it's pretty similar to Blake Griffin's as a freshman. So even if we don't necessarily see a refined offensive game at this point, wonderful hops. I believe he's leading, or he's near the top in the NCAAs in PER.
Don't just sit there and smile and let Ethan do this to the game of basketball.
You want an answer?
This is ridiculous.
You're going to have to accept an answer, Zach. The answer
Anthony
is that
Davis,
he has a handle.
Yeah, exactly. Anthony Davis is going to be, if he gets in the right offensive system, and I think that, interestingly, Ethan pointed out the defensive, that basically Davis would be able to make up for some of the things that Monroe lacks defensively. But I think offensively they would actually be a good tandem because Davis is smart without the ball. He's a sure ball handler for his size. They could do a lot of interesting high-low lobs, kind of what Camby and Aldridge do. I think that Davis is an underrated offensive talent because in the system that he plays, he's usually at that high post pivot, and they pivot the ball through him and attack with ball handlers from the wings. And I think that when he gets in the league, he will be a better offensive prospect than people realize. And he could end up being a shooter like Garnett and really be terrifying.
Again, I'm not saying he's going to be a bad player. I think he's going to be fine. He's probably like an eventual all-star or something. But this idea that he's going to change franchises and that he and Greg Monroe are going to combine to do anything but watch bad jumper after bad jumper by Rodney Stuckey.
But did you think Kyrie Irving was going to change the franchise?
Yeah, Zach. What about that? I remember us arguing about that.
Yes!
When did
of course
he change
he's got
the
a
franchise?
21 PER
on
a team that could go to the playoffs. They're
Could
fighting
go to
for
the
an
playoffs. They're
8 seed.
6-10. They're not good. The worst thing they could do is make the playoffs this year. That's the worst thing that franchise could do is make the playoffs this year. They need to tank.
So you're mad at Kyrie Irving for being too good.
How can you have gotten excited about a European rookie who wasn't shooting over 40% and poo-poo the acquisition of the number one pick in basketball? It's crazy.
Because Ricky Davis is great. Ricky Rubio actually changes the game on both ends of the floor, whereas Kyrie Irving does not even come close to that on defense. And they're actually not in a position to tank where the Wolves have to win because they don't have their pick. Whereas the Cavs, there is no reason for them to win. The best thing they can do is have Irving be good, but the team be bad. And if they screw up and make the 8th seed, that screws their momentum moving forward as a franchise so much. Moral victories don't mean anything for a bad team. They really don't.
Well, let me turn that on its head. That's why I'm excited about Detroit, because they still suck, and they have a player who looks like a potential all-star in Greg Monroe. So it's perfect
potential
if they add
all-star?
another. Yes. If you don't think that, then that's crazy. I'm not saying he will.
I mean,
but
Jamal
he's
McClure made an
certainly
all-star
an
team,
all-star.
so I guess
Zach. It's a good point.
Yeah. I mean,
there
so
has
have
to
that.
In the
just
West,
be
he would
one.
never make an all-star team. There's 5 power forwards better than him in the West, but in the East, he feasibly could.
Yeah. And if you want a stat, you asked me what's the difference between Anthony Davis and Marcus Camby. Well, this is a mind-blowing stat. A difference right now is that in his freshman year, Anthony Davis is averaging a block a game more than Camby did. That's ridiculous. Look, I know that we get into this mode where we go, oh, well, it's just defense and it's just blocks, but this is such a difference in degree of skill at that level that it's a difference in kind. And he's a potentially
block shots are a
transformative
great
defensive
indicator.
player.
Darko was top 5 in the league in blocks last year, and look how good of a defender he is. I mean,
We're
block
not.
shots
we're
mean
not
everything.
predicting
I'm
That
with
is
you.
such a
Before
false
we got to the
equivalency.
league.
All right, we
Donald
can't settle
Foyle
this
averaged 6
because
per
he hasn't
game
played in the
in
NBA
college.
yet, and you guys are
Great.
just grumpuses.